Hey everyone, welcome back from our second break for our episode 1 of Fistful of Darkness. Right before break, Charles, now known Munroe, had a wonderful and lovely moment with Aunt Polly of the House of Roses where she indulged him in becoming sheriff, in helping solve the mystery of why the last one left and why none have been able to remain since him over a year ago. You were handed the keys and all given a warm and rather hearty meal there at the House of Roses.
Out of interest, what kind of food is it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking clam chowder for some reason.
Hold on. My cat is trying to eat a rubber band. Give me a second.
I'd like to think I have some chili and cornbread. Okay.
Ooh, that sounds
Yes.
hearty fare.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, it is all different per person, even though you weren't
Okay.
technically asked.
Nice. Yeah.
So one is given a New England clam chowder. Another is given chili. Nero is actually fed steak.
Whoa.
Surprisingly rare.
Yeah.
And Ezra is given almost like a chicken pot pie. One of those individual ones.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Delicious crust. Kona, your cornbread is fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's something my mother what was one of my favorite meals from youth when I'm still in Frontier Town. And if you cook, if you look very hard at Ezra, you can almost see a little tear in his eye.
Oh no, poor Ezra.
At the inside,
he looks at his dish and he celebrates every single piece of it while eating it.
I like to think Kona's ravenously eating and looking at you, kind of like, "Oh, that bad, huh?" Yeah.
I will say during this time that you guys are in the House of Roses, you notice that you were in a rather large space here. When you first come in the steps up from the boardwalk, it's a decent sized building from the outside, but as you walk in, the stairs actually go down an entire story so that the main space is completely open, providing a 3-story space. And in the center of it are a bunch of tables and lounges, and it's a very decadent place. Also, you will notice that quite a bit of the coloration is embroidered or has motifs of roses. Some of the windows even appearing to have stained glass, being very rare, with roses in them. The main space being open and this massive chandelier in the center of some creature and its rather cavernous rib cage being mutated by Hellstone and powered to give off this magnificent shadow and whatnot of the chandelier. The rib cage coming down, and you don't know what this was. Was it a buffalo? Was it something larger? You can't quite tell. But it is mutated with some of the Hellstone. and it appears to somewhat be powered, so those aspects are glowing and giving off light, almost as if different bulbs are being protruded off the ribcage and scattering that light throughout the space. A bar along one side of the entire room. A dance, probably more like a theater, like a dance floor, stage area over in the back. And then on the other side, all the lounges with the lovely stained glass windows, all looking out onto Main Street. The windows being very, very tall, the light only coming down from the top because this is a split. The windows go all the way. More lights being put in the bottom half of those windows to give the illusion that the space is actually much larger than it is. And then up in the rafters, up along the top towards the probably the second story from if you were standing outside, the rooms and everything up in the rafters. Bunch of private quarters for pleasure and luxury or weary travelers.
Does any of this mutated stuff look similar to the creepy man, or the creepy person, I should say, with the skull that I spotted next to the Black Rider?
No, it seems that once Aunt Polly showed up, that it just turned away and left. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Somebody is at my door.
No worries.
Yeah, I think Kona's probably
I
looking
won-
around, right? Like looking at this glowing stuff, kind of like scared.
Yeah. This stuff is
And-
like I'm sure Nero has never seen anything like this in their life before. I mean, they've seen weird supernatural shit, but no weird supernatural shit that's like this.
Yeah, it's a little bit different with Ezra because he walks right under this thing, and maybe he looks like he does a small greeting, like he recognizes such an animal or mutation or whatever it is as a kind of I think it's a kind of hunter's greeting. So it's maybe some familiar animal he hunted before. He just recognized the shape a little bit from somewhere, wherever that was. Big, mysterious, dark secret. Insert here.
Monroe's probably awestruck. His vice is luxury. This is probably the most magnificent thing he's ever seen. So he's probably just staring up, and his pupils are dilating slightly as he just stares into the depths of the hellstone chandelier carved beast multi-story crazy building.
Yeah, maybe Ezra nudged him a little bit, seeing his as he's staring at this thing. And do you recognize it too?
And Monroe's gonna look down, most serious face, and say, I have never seen anything quite like this in my entire life.
We too should go hunting someday. I can show you places.
Monroe's just gonna stare at him and then stare back up with him at the chandelier again.
I think Kona's kind of having a little like exchange with Nero, kind of like like those two look like they're into it.
Yeah. I think as she speaks to Nero, she sees that they are like peering very intently at some of the more like obviously mutated stuff. And then they turn to look at her and they say, I saw the rider out there. they didn't have the horse with them, but I think there was some kind of demon wearing a skull like that looked like some of this stuff.
Oh,
This stuff is
no.
cursed.
A sign, surely. What does your instinct tell you?
My instinct tells me we better burn this place to the ground. But my main instinct also told me I should shoot Munroe when I first met him. So my instinct's not always right, I think.
Yeah, the gears are turning in her eyes.
Yeah.
You can see that she's
Yeah.
like also agreeing, but like, okay. Yeah, maybe we should wait and see then what we can get
Yeah.
out of this. And I think that the way that Kona expresses it is that she's just like, as the last time that I encountered these things, the works of Hellstone, I'll need to see what good can come. And she kind of leaves it at that, like she's on board for this, but is very nervous about it.
Yeah, I think Nero will remain reticent, and then when they notice that there is a bar, Nero's going to walk up to the bar and say, "Don't suppose you have any clean water here, do you?"
The barkeep is just cleaning some glasses and whatnot. Clean water. What do you mean by clean water?
I mean, water that doesn't have like gunk in it, like creepy crawlies, mud. I've drunk a lot of muddy water, and I don't like that.
Are
Just,
you making fun of the town's name?
I think their eyes go white because they didn't even for a second think, "Oh shit, I might be being rude," and then they say, No, I just, like in a well, and then they're gonna walk away. There's they don't know what, there's no idea what's how to salvage the situation. They're gonna give it up for lost.
Oh,
He just stands there and watches them walk away, and then it's just
Yeah.
like, rivers run dry. Why do you think they drink booze around here? Just like mutters to himself and goes back to cleaning.
Yeah.
bartender, one whiskey neat. And look at Nero and the whiskey water.
Go ahead and just nod and then bring some glasses over.
On the ladies' tab.
Yeah, 100%.
Just pauses a little bit. You mean the sheriff's tab?
Yes, all the same. Cheers. One for you as well.
Yeah, I think if
He's gonna write on a napkin.
Yeah, Nero's gonna pick up the glass and then drink a little, make a little face like, it's not that clean, and then look at Munroe and say, "I thought you were just the deputy."
Deputy, they'll know my name all the same eventually. I'm gonna write on the napkin, like with the little whatever writing device, and just like +1 tip or something, and head it to the bar.
Well, distilling your drinks is a good way to clean the water, I'm told.
Yeah, that is true, and the alcohol will kill the germs, right? That's how that works.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. I think Nero will look at Ezra and then look back at Munroe and say, "Did you get the feeling he was, off in his own head while we were trying to escape those twins?"
Oh, perhaps. Now is a time for celebration, though. Look around you. Enjoy the party, Nero. Enjoy the drink. Sometimes there's a time to think, there's a time to speak, and there's a time to drink.
So, but what happens outside? Are we still on the path of the wind, or are we lost? He
That's
looks he looks at Matt, the magnificent Munroe. no, I think Ezra thinks of him as Mad Munroe. So,
Yeah.
and then he looks at Nero and tries to find some answer in their faces or eyes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's the veil, but I think inside the building they've probably like taken the veil up only because they have to drink the whiskey somehow.
Straws.
And I think, yeah. Do they have straw? If they have a straw, I will take a straw. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, it's just like a very narrow metal piping.
That is
And
true. Yeah.
some buildings, especially like this place, would have running indoor plumbing.
Nice. Okay,
So
great.
they would probably have something that's newfangled or whatnot as a
Yeah.
straw.
I think Nero will look at Ezra and say, I can't speak to the wind, but we better find whatever it was telling us to look for. Or the Black Rider and that creepy green skull person thing. Did I tell you about that? That thing. They're going to find us before we get to wherever we need to go.
Yeah, and Cona's probably been listening to the wind as well. Maybe has gone outside at some point towards the end of that exchange and is already looking to see which way it's flowing, which way it's blowing the sands.
As you go to stand up to walk outside, you almost hear the moaning spirit of whatever great creature is the chandelier.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah.
Everything is like this. Yeah.
It almost sounds like a howling
Okay.
rustling of there's multiple sounds. You feel great respect for whatever it was or is. It almost tells a little bit of a story in its wailful prayer to the spirit of the West.
Does it
That's
as
not
you
ominous.
step outside, the wind itself almost seems to carry a harmonious tune to it as well.
right? Consulting my local knowledge, it seems Howling Gulch is to the west, so my character probably realizes that's what it's kind of pointing towards, right? And,
It's actually not pointing towards the west.
oh,
It's pointing north up towards the cliffs.
ah, right. I probably would say something to Nero, kind of like, "Do you hear it too? Calling us to the north?"
I think Nero will like look at you and say, we made a choice coming into town, and it was important for us to meet the Ravens. But you're right. It's time for us to go north. And then they will look at Munroe, who is apparently having a fantastic time drinking and carousing, and yell, "Oi,
There's
deputy!"
probably a group of people now kind of like flirting and whatnot with him at this point.
Telling great
Yeah.
stories. The best stories. The best.
Yeah. I think Nero will say, "Deputy, we need to ride out." There's something to the north that we have to investigate. About the last sheriff's murder? Yeah, that.
It's the middle of the night, child. The night.
It's
where we
literally midday.
I was in midday still? I'm sorry, I was
Yeah, I mean,
imagining.
like, it's during the day, right?
Look to the clock, it still shows noon. So you guys have been here a fairly decent amount of time.
It's always noon here.
I guess that's when he notices it for the first time, and he's like, "The hell? There's something cursed about this town."
Cona's just like pointing up to the skull.
We've been here for hours. We've been partying for days.
Yeah, don't you think it's about time we go? You've had quite a good time already, right?
And I think we just cut to him like on the road, but his eyes are just really, really like he's just got sunken eyes and it's high noon. We're on the road to where we're going.
So do you guys want to head straight to where the wind is headed? Do you want to stop by the sheriff's office? Do you need to... your horses are well rested by this point.
Yeah, I'm not in a huge
Being
rush.
taken care of in by the House of Roses
Oh, that's nice.
at the stables.
I hope they
So
got some
brushed, fed, and watered.
Yeah,
I think we should head north. I think that among other things, the fact that we didn't go north in the first place probably does have something to do with all of the things that went wrong in the town.
Sorry, I just have to ask: is this an Australian Shepherd?
Border Collie.
A border collie. Okay, because I have an Australian Shepherd, and everybody asks if this is a border collie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
This is
Very
Pancake.
cool.
Say hi, Pancake.
So cute.
good looking.
This is not getting you off the hook for anything you have done, right?
+1 effect, baby.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's probably like just like a little exchange where Kona's like, "Well, make sure you got everything in order," and then looking at the like slightly intoxicated Munroe is kind of like, and yeah, wipe the sleep out of your eyes or whatever that is. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You will notice that the badge that you were given by Polly is a 6-pointed star that says sheriff on it. And on the back side, though I'm not sure how much you can read in your current state, there is a name from somebody previous. It's not really readable. It's like it used to be stamped on there, but you're not sure why this stamp is so shallow now. Like, you know those metallic stamps where when the metal is warmed up and they'll go and stamp it in there. This one almost seems to have, it was stamped at one time, but now it's pretty much covered back up.
So Monroe's gonna look at it and just while he's writing, kind of bouncing up and down, and it just looks like his face is completely pained, and he's thinking, "Am I so fucked up that I can't read this right now?" And he's gonna go, let's go, Kona. What are your pronouns?
She.
She. She's girl.
Okay.
Does this make any sense to you?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't quite what I meant, but that works. Okay. she just
If I
like,
recall, when we did session 0, I believe Kona is in her mid 30 to 40s.
Oh, young miss. Yeah, young miss.
she's like, what? Okay, and then grabs the thing and looks at it, and she's like,
As you look at it, it's Charles Munroe on it, on the back.
What the hell? What the hell?
I'm like, it seems to be made out to you. Didn't you say that they gave you a nice name back in town? Charles? Yeah, that's it.
So give me that. Grab it and just be like, what the fuck?
Looks official.
Looks weird to you. Can't quite read it.
And he's just gonna look at it like disconcertingly and just keep this puzzled expression on his face, like, bro, you old man. I don't suppose you know how to read.
Sorry.
Going in and out accents. Just general. Sorry, I gotta impose my Monroe voice. Old man, you take a look at this. Does it mean anything to you?
Yes, it's your name on it.
It's my name.
Yeah, you committed to this job. So what's the problem? Put it on and we can go.
That's a load of poppycock. Give me that. Probably gets to Nero. Be like, just tell me. You see you in tune with them spirits and such, right? This is some black magic wizardry. Which way going on here? This is arcane language that they can't recognize, cannot see, cannot understand.
Clearly stamped with his name.
Yeah, and it's written in English, right? Like it's not like
Yeah, I think
Martian or something.
right. We think it's the alcohol talking.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it, turn it back to front, be like Sheriff, turn it back to back. Charles Munroe, look up at Munroe, and say, there is something really weird about this. Says you're not a deputy. Says you're an actual sheriff. Get your name on it. That is pretty odd. I thought you were a deputy.
So grab it back and make him ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's so funny. And look at the badge and try to read it one more time. It's like,
It says sheriff plainly on the front, but on the back, you can't quite read the name.
and instead of like pinning it where it was, he's just gonna tuck it into one of his pockets instead.
Okay. Beware of needles.
Yeah, I think Nero is now convinced there is one normal person on this posse, and it's Kona. The other the three of us, we're not,
She's listening to
that's totally fine. Yeah,
She's listening
We
to
got problems.
the voices of dead animals, so that just goes to show you how normal she is, you know? She's like listening to the wind and like blood and sand and whatever else.
Yeah. Really put in the weird and Weird West.
So I didn't know that you wanted normal people. Sorry.
if anything, we didn't.
I love it.
This wasn't in session 0. Yeah.
Oh,
No, more on the Nero level of consciousness.
We're playing a Weird West game, not a normal West game. Yeah.
Part of the genre. You should know.
I will ask for a fortune roll being done by trying to follow said wind.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Is that just me then?
It feels like Kona should roll this, right? Like you are the one who is most listening.
Okay. So I'm thinking it's probably a tune? That sounds
However you think Kona would be doing such an action.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like as we're trotting towards the edge of town, Kona's actually like closed her eyes, and it's just kind of like letting the horse kind of sway her forward and backwards as she's doing the trot there, and then she like runs her hand across one of the markings that she has, and like lets it guide her. Like she like does it get hot, like that kind of thing. She's trying to like feel like, does it light up, all that, and she can sense that. So yeah, that's what she's doing to attune here.
Okay. Go ahead and make your roll.
Right, so this is a fortune. Let's see, effect, standard, sure. Okay, 1.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
Attuning real good. I got a 6.
Excellent. You do find that the wind is very much leading you north. And you come across more nature as you come up towards the cliff. Kind of like it's a hilly type area and whatnot. You come across a very dry riverbed at one point, and you kind of it's kind of the only real pathway through this area. So you just kind of like get onto the riverbed and then just continue up north, snaking it to the cliffside. You see various aspects of this high desert, cacti species, even some species that you didn't really think existed. They almost appear alien-like. And as it starts to get a little bit more towards dusk, you see that some of them are glowing in some aspects, some of them appearing crystalline in nature. Some aspects of sand and everything changing color as you go about in this desert and rocky area. At one point, you cross over some rocks that appear to be humming in some sort of melodious haunting. And this is for a large area. It's just at the edge of the riverbed, but as you kind of like look up over, this entire plain is completely flat and filled with all of these rocks that seem to be singing. Your low cries haunting, being carried by the wind itself.
Yeah, I think we're on the right path.
Animals, you really haven't come across any large animals. You've mostly come across, one of you do spot Ezra. You see a jackalope kind of wandering into the underbrush. Several small desert squirrel rodent creatures as well. And at one point, you're not quite sure if there was something a little larger, but and rustling in the underbrush, but you haven't really seen anything. And then as you come up closer to the cliffside, you see what appears to be an old waterfall or something of that nature into this little pool area as the river kind of comes up to the base of the cliffside. The rock and the strata going up, and as the sun sets, you can see the brilliant colors appearing more vibrant in that aspect as the sunlight hits it from this angle. The waterfall is pretty much non-existent. You're fairly certain that right now is a dry season for here. There only appears to be a small little trickle. It's coming down one of the rock faces. Some of the old, gnarled, petrified trees kind of reaching over as the water kind of seeps down. A small pool of muddied water down there at its base. Yet the wind is pushing you through the rock, beyond that space. And Kona, as you kind of go to investigate, you see that there appears to be some sort of hidden entrance that is kind of hidden beyond the rock here.
Yeah, so probably at that point, that's when she's kind of like, actually, I'm wondering as a player, are we trying to introduce this in the narrative then? Or say that we've already been here?
Out of character, this is introducing.
Yeah, we're gonna introduce it in the narrative. Okay. Yeah, so she kind of like looks uneasily and then gestures to the side of the waterfall, like a path remains to be taken, and she says, "This is the way that we must go." And you see that like the like birthmark on her neck starts to kind of like issue forth with some smoke that's like ethereal.
You cannot go through this entrance on your horses.
Okay.
You will have to get off of your horses to be able to traverse it. You are fairly certain that it is wide enough to fit a horse, but you may need to unsaddle them first. It is quite narrow. So, who is going first?
I'll volunteer. I was leading, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Who's next?
Okay.
I'll go next, I guess.
Okay. Marching order. Next.
You know,
I don't have too much experience out here, so how are you navigating the terrain, Ezra?
I think I take the back.
Okay, so I'll be stumbling right in front of you.
Yes, and you hear me shing all the time. Shh. Silent.
Oh, man. Yeah.
You hear Paul in your head, Ezra. We are being quiet.
Yeah.
So noisy.
Yeah, we are close to a crossroad. Yes, I know that, Paul. I will tell them.
Why was he chosen and not you? I don't get it. I thought we were good.
Quiet. Shh.
You shush.
Shut up.
They can't hear me.
Mother always told you that you not pick on me. So.
What do you guys have to quote Mother?
It's like, if you shush me one more time, old man, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not gonna be good. I'm like,
Okay.
you're doing fine at being quiet. Let's just creep in. Let's see what's in here.
I will say, as you guys enter in, give me a second. As you enter in, the space opens up, and you notice that, at least on the backside and underside, like, this is kind of an area that's kind of like tucked in behind the rock, and you kind of have to go a little bit of a ways to get back into this space. But as you're in this space, then you kind of like look back and realize that this is a massive or decent sized cavern that seems to naturally be here. You can almost see the underside of the waterfall, calcite and everything kind of like weeping on the underside, that it slowly but surely just has kind of created this dome, at least on one aspect. There's a little bit of water in here. There's a little ray of sunlight coming in, peeking out of something, and there in the middle of the space, this is probably maybe 150 feet circle or sphere area. So it can fit you guys and the horses fairly simply, very comfortably. But you can't fit much more than that in here. And in kind of like that sunlight, Kona, you kind of like get this glint off of your eye, and you kind of like shield your eyes with your hand, and then you kind of like look up, and there in the sunlight is a skeleton.
Right.
Dead, little bit of skin that's kind of just become leather in the dry heat. There's no real smell or anything. This is a dry desert, a high desert. Most of the animals probably came in and cleaned most of it out. What aspects are left of him have mummified a little bit. So, like, there's some little bit of a cheekbone and some hair, and what's glittering in this last ray of sunshine before the sun sets is an aspect of Hellstone held within his grip.
I mean, instinctively,
And
I
with
sniff the air.
And with that, we are going to go to our last break of today.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I'm into it. So, all right, we'll be back in another 10 minutes or so. Stay tuned, folks.
Hope you're having a good time, because I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
This is intensely creepy.